Nobody wants to turn the page faster than our producer, Noah Mendel. Before Week 10 is done, we look at Week 11. Why? Because we can.
Early lines, baby.
That's right. Packers are hosting the Titans. That's Thursday Night Football. That's a juicy little Thursday game. Sunday Night Football, Chargers hosting the Chiefs. Juicy. Cardinals hosting the Niners. Monday Night Football. I don't know. Kyler Murray comes back. Could be interesting. Let's start with Titans and Packers with Danny Kanell and Brady Quinn. Did Green Bay turn the corner like maybe the Bucs did a couple of weeks ago, that comeback win, and then it carried over to the following week?
We are sharing a brain, Chris Hassel, because I had the same thought when the Bucs had that, season-saving drive just a couple weeks ago. We saw them parlay that into a really nice game performance yesterday in Germany. I think you could see that happen with the Packers. Now, I don't know if they're making the playoffs, but I do think it creates some momentum for them. Playing against a Titans team where we were talking earlier about the AFC South, I think it's still up for grabs. I think there's questions about their identity, what they want to be. They want it to be Derrick Henry, but when you're still seeing Malik Willis come in on certain situations to run a zone read or an RPO, and he comes in and fumbles, I'm curious to see where that team is mentally. Meanwhile, the Packers had this massive black cloud hanging around the facility after every game. They've got to answer these questions. Now they do it with one of the more impressive comebacks of the season. And Aaron Rodgers is able to say, all right, see, I told you we've still got it. But most importantly, you saw one of those young receivers in Christian Watson step up on the big stage and have those 3 touchdown catches. And you saw Aaron Rodgers only throw it 20 times. Maybe they're finding a formula is to get the run game going, limit Aaron Rodgers, don't throw it around 40 to 50 times, but actually have a balanced attack. I think the Packers might be onto something, so I like them playing at home here against the Titans.
I like it playing at home, maybe feeling a little bit of the momentum from that. Even Christian Watson had a couple of drops early in that game, had a nice catch later on. Maybe that's one of those points, too, where he starts to break out and emerge as that go-to wide receiver they've been looking for. But you just touched on the formula. Yeah, get the ball to your best player. Right now, that's Aaron Jones. That's the reality of it. Hand it off to him as many times as you can. It's going to shorten the game, limit as much as your defense needs to be out there, in particular versus a Tennessee Titans team that is your kryptonite. Derrick Henry will be able to run the football time and time and time again. And as much as we want to give credit for the way the Packers were able to find a way of getting a win this past week, you still have Derrick Henry staring you in the eyes, and you're giving up roughly 5 yards an attempt right now if you're the Packers defense. That's a nightmare scenario for you with Derrick Henry coming to town. So, look, I'll lay the 2.5 points. I don't feel good about it. If this number's 3 or any higher, I'm on the other side of this bet. I'll go ahead and take them points in the Tennessee Titans here because I just think it's a bad matchup schematically for what each of these two teams do well.
All right, let's look ahead to a trio of Sunday games beginning in the late afternoon in Minnesota. The Vikings with that 5-game lead in the loss column on the Packers in the division, and really they've separated themselves from the rest of the NFC, but they continue to chase the Eagles, who are unbeaten at this point. The Cowboys go in there as slight favorites.
Are we missing some news? Is there a flu outbreak in Minnesota? Is Kirk Cousins hurt for the year?
What it could be is, oh, here we go. It's the big game for Kirk Cousins. He just answered that.
Thank you.
Last weekend.
And the Cowboys are coming off a performance where they blew this, 14-point lead in the fourth quarter for the first time in 185 regular season games. I'm looking at trying to, and yet it terrifies me at the same time because it's never that easy, right? You can't just say, oh, the Vikings are going to waltz out there and win outright. That's my thinking, and that's where I would lean in this game because I do feel like the Minnesota Vikings are playing with all this momentum. I do think what will be the story of this game is, does that Dallas Cowboys defense, do they step up, and are they able to pressure Kirk Cousins? Because he's very human when he is pressured. But they also have to stop Dalvin Cook in the backfield, and I thought that's what the Packers did. We're just talking about that game. They were able to run the football on the Dallas Cowboys defense, neutralize the pass rushers like Micah Parsons. I think the Minnesota Vikings will be able to here. I'm still struggling to find out how the Vikings are a home underdog.
Well, I think it's in part because this game's not at 1 o'clock. It's at 4:25 Eastern time. That's the difference. And that's what Pete Prisco would be touching on right now if he was here having this conversation is anytime outside of that 1 o'clock window, you tend to see Kirk Cousins struggle in some of those big-time matchups. I don't even know if it's so much that. I think you also go back and look at this past week's game. It felt like Buffalo kind of gave away that game in certain instances. As good of a win as it was for Minnesota, I'm not taking anything away from that. You did kind of feel like there were some mistakes made by Josh Allen, maybe pressing a bit too much. Not sure we're going to see those same mistakes from the Dallas Cowboys. But this is one where I'll go ahead and take the point, 2 points, whatever it may end up being, and the home underdog here in the Minnesota Vikings. They've been a much better team than I think maybe we thought or gave them credit for. And so I don't really understand the line either, but that's a tough place to play. I think it's a tough place too. We talk about the pass rush for the Dallas Cowboys. Still, they're going to have to deal with the noise and the pass rush on the other side. And a guy like Zadarius Smith, who's had himself quite the year for the Minnesota Vikings. So I'll take the point or 2 points here, whatever this finishes up at.
Vikings have won 7 straight games, all by 1 score. No team has done that 8 straight times. They'll try to do that Sunday afternoon. 1 o'clock Eastern time. By the way, that Vikings-Cowboys game is on CBS. So is this one. Jets and Patriots. Patriots punked the Jets a couple of weeks ago. They've punked the Jets 13 straight times. If the Jets can win this, though, they'll pull even for the division lead with the idle Dolphins.
I don't know, in your words, if the Patriots punk the Jets, but I'm going to go ahead and take the Jets and the points. I think this team is playing with a tremendous amount of confidence right now. They found a formula with winning defense, limiting the exposure of Zach Wilson. The thing that terrifies me somewhat in this matchup is Bill Belichick and his defensive mind going against a quarterback who struggles, but I don't think that'll be the difference in the game. I think it'll be the Jets' defense, which gives Mac Jones and that Patriots the offense struggles as well. I would take the under in this game, but that's too many points for me against this red-hot Jets team.
They punked them.
I'm with DK. I like the under in this game too. But look, Belichick at home versus a young quarterback coming off a bye. I don't know. I mean, this number, I hate it sitting here at 4. If it was at 3, I'd feel a lot better about it. But I'll go ahead and lay the points here. Obviously, we saw the Patriots get the better of the Jets in the last matchup. And I think you're going to see some of those same things. And again, we talk about the Patriots defense the last time they were out. Pretty dominant. I mean, Matthew Judon doesn't get enough respect for the job he's done rushing off of the edge, which will be an issue if the Jets can't run the football. And you better believe the number one thing that Bill Belichick's going to try to take away is that ground attack from the New York Jets. So I'll lay the 4 points here. Don't feel great about it. I'm curious to see where this line settles before game time. I do think it'll be closer to 3.5 when it's all said and done.
One more game to look ahead to, Sunday Night Football. It's the Chiefs at the Chargers, and Kansas City's given a touchdown on the road. If the Chargers could pull this off, that would mean everybody in the AFC has 3 or more losses, and that 1 seed in the bye would be totally up for grabs again.
Yeah, which shows you kind of the strength and how many good teams are in this AFC, including the Chargers. I think this number's a little bit too big. It makes me I wish it was 7 and a hook, and I would love the Chargers at home as the home dog. The fact that it's 7 makes me a little bit nervous, but I'll go ahead and take all those points. I know it's been a little bit of an up and down year for the Chargers, and Patrick Mahomes and these Chiefs look so tough, and they've figured out formulas to win post Tyreek Hill. The last time we saw these two teams face, Justin Herbert was out there, put the Superman cape on with that, a chest issue that he had, almost pulling it off outright. So I'm going to say the Chargers at home. Chiefs have that bullseye on their back. I think they'll get the Chargers' best effort, even though they are banged up. I think they'll keep it within inside the touchdown there. So I'll go ahead and take the home dog.
The difference in that earlier matchup is the health of the Los Angeles Chargers, who are just decimated with injuries right now. No Keenan Allen, no Mike Williams, no Joey Bosa. They suffered some more injuries along the defensive front in this past week's game versus the San Francisco 49ers. So I'll lay the 7 points here. This number is big for a reason. It's because the Chargers are limping through the season. Now, if Mike Williams and Keenan Allen can find a way of making it back, which Keenan Allen's only played, in 2 games so far this season. Mike Williams has missed the last 2 weeks. They'll have a shot. They'll have a shot at keeping pace, but keep in mind this. Justin Herbert, over the last 5 games, has been held under 300 yards. In particular, this past week, held under 200 yards passing. So those big plays, that big high-powered offense we're accustomed to seeing, we're just not seeing it right now. And that's just as far as their skill possession issues. They've also got some issues up front on their offensive line. Foster Terrell might be a bit of an issue there at the right tackle spot to go along with 2 other rookies on their offensive line. So this is one where it looks like a big line, big number. I would lay those points right now unless you get better news about the health status of Mike Williams and Keenan Allen going into this one.
Okay, that's a quick look ahead to Week 11 games with Brady Quinn and Danny Kanell. Want to take a look at the games we have for you on CBS. We looked at a couple of those games, a couple of really good matchups. One in the early window, Jets at Patriots. One in the late window, Cowboys-Vikings. But we also have the Bengals back in action, trying to play their way back into the postseason. And Eagles-Colts. Might be a tricky spot for the Eagles against Jeff Saturday's Colts.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.